in common? Well, one thing that they have in common is that they've both beaten Galway and beaten Galway well. But is that enough, Tony, to give Mayo a lot of confidence in themselves today?
I think that's one thing they won't be short of, is confidence, but it's a different thing playing Galway in familiar territory above in Castlebar. Traditionally, Mayo have come here to Croke Park and they flattered to deceive, really. Played great football up to about the 40-yard line, and from there on they just kick balls wide. But what they have this year differently, they have good forwards, good scoring forwards. They have Kieran MacDonald at centre forward, the two Martyrals inside that are getting the scores for them. Now, whether Kieran MacDonald is going to get the space he was allowed before here today, I doubt it very much, because Tyrone, the way they defend, they'll bring their two midfielders back and they'll make sure Kieran MacDonald doesn't get that space.
Tyrone will hardly be as fresh as Mayo.
No, they won't be as fresh, but I think we're looking for perfection from Tyrone. Up to now, they've beaten everything that was put in front of them, beaten them well. At times they weren't perfect, but no team is perfect. I think Tyrone are going along nicely. We might see Peter Canavan in along today, maybe finish the final part of the jigsaw for them to move on. They're in a good game against Mayo. I'm not too sure Mayo, it's too soon for them to beat a team like Tyrone, but I'm sure they'll give them a great game.
Well, Mayo are having a very good season. Will it continue for them? They're up against the All-Ireland champions of 2003, and that's our second big match here at Croke Park this afternoon. Michael?
Ger, I think Tyrone will be very fortunate to see Peter Canavan play football this afternoon or for a few weeks yet to come. Martin Carney, back to the first match again. You have a point that you want to make about Fermanagh of last year, relevant to this game.
Yeah, I thought last year they suffered a little bit from the paralysis of analysis. Before the game, they decided to take Paul Brewster back in front of the full back line. As a result, they gave all the space they wanted to do to Sean Cavan in the middle of the park. If they're to win today, they must play with a swashbuckling abandon. Get every player to get out and play their game and take it to Armagh, and not to worry about tactics, because if they're going to worry about tactics, they'll get caught up in an Armagh maelstrom. So give it everything, forget about tactics, and do their best to get on the scoreboard, because they're scoring freely this year, Michael.
One thing about Armagh...
I think Joe Kiernan will be absolutely delighted to hear that about tactics.
Well, one thing about Armagh this year, they're amongst the one of two favourites of Tyrone to win the All-Ireland.
Yes.
They should win this game, handy enough. If they're to be unseated, how is it going to happen?
They're thinking of the Tyrone game, obviously, and that's the chink that Fermanagh have. But I mean, the outcome of the game, I think anybody would accept. It depends on Armagh. Yeah. I mean, Armagh are the great survivors, and they play most of their football in the last 10 minutes of any game. That's when it comes to crunch, and that suggests that they're winners, and we've seen that over years. Against Tyrone last year, Tyrone played them off the park. With 2 minutes to go, they had a goal chance that would have equalised the game, and arguably Armagh could have gone on and won it. And it's just difficult to see Fermanagh over 70 minutes being able to surmount that.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen, for that. Okay, we're getting our Mayo men involved in this first match here so they can relax if it's possible to relax for the second game. Martin here in the studio. Kevin McStay is up in the commentary box, and he is with Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Michael. Yes, indeed, it's a beautiful day here in Dublin and a very breezy day. Armagh and Fermanagh have met 17 times in the championship. Fermanagh won the first 4 contests beginning in 1913, but since their last victory in 1966, Armagh have dominated the series, winning all 13 meetings. 14 of the Armagh team that won their 11th Ulster football title here in Croke Park 4 weeks ago start today. It's an impressive lineup with Francie Bellew and Kieran McGeeney manning key central defensive roles as usual, while Philip Loughran and Paul McGrain have developed a clear understanding at midfield. There's one change in the attack. Oisin McConville has a hamstring problem, so John Toll is drafted in at a left half forward.
Well, Stephen MacDonald is unquestionably the best forward in the country at the moment, and that's simply because of his consistency, his ability to win ball any way it comes really, and his ability to execute clinically. He's already got 1-9 in the championship to date. For the past 3 years, MacDonald has been superb for Armagh in my opinion, and these high scoring returns are a huge boost to them. He's two-footed, he's strong in the air, very composed around the goal, and it's almost impossible to see how Fermanagh are really going to cope with this super player.
Well, it's been an interesting journey for these Fermanagh footballers this summer. Their manager, Charlie McGrew, makes just one change to the starting 15 that knocked out Donegal. Peter Sherry replaces Declan O'Reilly at left half back, but the rest stay as they were. Marty McGrath and Liam McBarron are doing fine in the middle of the park, while the attack has real potential, especially Maguire and Little on the wings, and O'Reilly and Bradley in the corners.
Well, an interesting aside about Martin McGrath. John Mohan actually introduced him to inter-county football, and the Fermanagh midfielder has been outstanding in their triumphant march through the qualifiers. He's very mobile, he's very skillful, and Martin is not shy either in the scoring department, but really I think it's his running, his tackling, the way he contests every ball that makes his contribution so critical for Fermanagh. And of course Fermanagh need him now to produce probably his game of the season if Fermanagh are to really have any chance against Armagh today.
Well, the Fermanagh players gather around, and including Marty McGrath, who, as Kevin was saying, is an integral part of this Fermanagh machine. When you go to the Croke Park dressing room, or any dressing room where Fermanagh are, you feel you're visiting a minor team. These young players are so young, 18, 19, as they jokingly said, 25, and you're an old man on this Fermanagh side at the moment. Well, they failed to win since 1966, that's 38 years ago, and Fermanagh have yet to win an Ulster title. They won the 2000 B All-Ireland Championship, but since then certainly they've had a rather varied time. Armagh, on the other hand, are bidding amazingly for their 5th All-Ireland football semi-final in 6 years. It's the best example, I think, in Gaelic football of consistency that I know. Remember, 5th All-Ireland semi-final in 6 years, Kevin.
Oh, it's an outrageous record, Marty, and of course the early years of those trips to Croke Park were very, very painful on Armagh, but you have to really admire the way they learned from it. It struck me earlier on, Marty, actually thinking about Fermanagh. It's a long time since Tipperary gave them a walkover in the qualifiers, and I wonder how Tip think this morning or this afternoon when they look out in Croke Park and see the strides and the journey that Fermanagh have made. Impossible really for me to give them a big shout today. They're really up against I suppose one of the finest teams in the country. Short odds for the All-Ireland. They're going to have to produce a magnificent performance to even stay in this game.
Match referee is John Bannon from Longford. He started refereeing in 1992. He took charge of the All-Ireland final of 1998 and the meeting of Armagh and Kerry in 2002. Well, all the experts say it has to be Armagh. But let me just say a quiet word for the underdog. They've beaten Meath, they've beaten Cork, they've beaten Donegal. Can Fermanagh add the biggest scalp of all on their journey this summer? The big boys from Ulster, Armagh. It's a very blustery breeze. Sorry, Kevin. It's a very blustery breeze, and Fermanagh, I think wisely, Kevin, took advantage of the toss when they won it and are playing from right to left.
Yeah, because they're going to need a good start. And of course, Marty, when you make reference to their journey through the qualifiers and you listed the teams they've beaten, you know, I suppose I don't think it's unfair of us. I think we're being realistic about what they're up against today. But you have to say they're 3 massive scalps that Fermanagh have taken out in the qualifiers, and it has to give them confidence. As you say, they're a very young team. You know, minors are hardly shaving, half them, and these fellas are going to just get stuck into it. I'm sure if the play would have banded, they can ask a few questions. Can they ask the big questions? Don't think so.
Well, I was up in Fermanagh doing a report indeed for the Sunday game, and I thought really Donegal were so big physically that Fermanagh wouldn't be able to win. They're up against a bigger physical side today. It's a big test for the youngsters from Fermanagh. The first of the quarterfinals underway. First touch for Niall Tinney from Urbanstown. And if Fermanagh are to have any chance, realistic chance, they have to open it up. And I will emphasise to you the amount of support play that Fermanagh indulge in. Usually they have 2 or 3 players available when one of their players win possession. It's the only way they're going to beat Armagh. They're relishing the challenge, facing Enda McNulty and the boys, as Aidan O'Rourke from Drummondtee takes the first sideline ball of the afternoon. Aiming at Dermot Marsden. Laying it off to John Toll, who we mentioned in our scene set, took the place of Oisin McConville. It's 2 against 2, good understanding, goes back for Ryan McCluskey from Enniskillen Gales. Cross field. Fermanagh taking advantage of the wind, but this is their style of play, whether it is with the wind or against the breeze. Pass going astray from Mark Whittle. Overfires Dermot Marsden. First score on the way, perhaps. Dermot Marsden, the scorer. Score of a goal and 3 so far in the championship, and certainly the long ball played advantage there for Armagh. Good score by Marsden.
Yeah, terrible clearance from the Fermanagh defence there, straight down the throat of Ciara McGinney. He found Marsden very easily, but it's a lovely strike by Marsden to get him off. Marsden, very confident player, season 2004, and he's making a big contribution for Armagh. Great start for him.
Ever since he was introduced as a substitute against Cavan when he scored a point, he's been more or less first choice again. in the full forward line. 3 Fermanagh players going up. This is the captain of Fermanagh, Shane McDermott from the St. Patrick's Club. Laying it off for Stephen Maguire into the space. This time, however, Enda McNulty read the situation well. Kieran McGeaney makes himself available. Crossfield ball, the wind just carrying it away, but it works out all right from a Armagh point of view. Paddy McKeever, Aidan O'Rourke, long ball again inside. Barry Owens, one of just 4 players playing for Fermanagh this afternoon that played in the quarter-final last year. It's an amazing statistic when you consider it. Just 4 players: Owens, Shane McDermott, Marty McGrath and Stephen Maguire. This is Paddy McKeever. Scored a cracking goal in the Ulster final at this very venue. Good ball inside for Stephen McDonald, uses the fists and sends it over the bar.
Well, there was an earlier part of the play there when the Fermanagh number 12, Mark Little, was certainly fouled out here. John Bannon missed it and ended up the other end of the field. And here's the man we've been talking about earlier on. This is a superb finish with his fist. Had a look, was there anything on? No, I'll take my point.
This was a man that impressed so much for the international team when they played Australia, both in Melbourne and in Perth last October. As Niall Tinney from Irvinstown takes the kick out. Paddy McKeever. A physical presence that Armagh have all over the pitch, being quite evident in the early stages. This is Ronan Clark from the Pearso Club in Armagh City. Back outside tries Paul McGrain. The pass is not a good one. Nicely picked up by Tony McEntee. Armagh putting the pressure on immediately. Fermanagh chasing shadows. This is for Stephen McDonald with the right foot. The umpires say it's another point. He scored 2 points against Donegal the last time here on the 11th of July. He scored 2 points again here this afternoon, and we've just almost 4 minutes played.
It is another beauty, and what's ominous now really for Fermanagh is there's been 2 or 3 50-50 balls out in the middle of the field, the centre half back position. Armagh have come up each time with that ball and moved it on. I know McDonald is on his second point, and that doesn't look good for Fermanagh.
I actually noticed, Kevin, the day I was above in Clonus when Fermanagh played Donegal. Fermanagh were very slow to settle. It took them a while to get their rhythm. About 15 minutes gone. Well, we'll see what happens. Ian McBarron losing his footing there. John Toll. I can see by that, Kevin, you're not convinced of my argument. Anyway, let's continue on. Kieran McGeaney giving it lovely catch by Ronan Clark. Barry Owens came in with a challenge. That was an illegal one.
Well, this is, definitely not the start they wanted, Marty. I mean, they're looking for 4-0 here. You'd have to suspect that they're going to capitalise with this one. It's a handy one straight in front of goal, 4 metres out.
Well, he scored twice already from play. This could be his first from a free. Goal and 9 points so far in the championship. Well, we're goal and 11 now. And this one should be a relatively easy one.
And even without Oisin McConville, Armagh have a backup man for every position, for every job, it would appear. And he just chips this over so casually. 4 points to no score. It's nearly a point a minute, Marty, and that is not good, you know.
4 out of 4.
No, it's a serious stat. Yep.
Fermanagh thinking of warming up at least their substitutes at the moment. Shane Gowan is one of those players, as Niall Tinney takes this kick out. He's actually not first choice goalkeeper for his club, would you believe? He actually plays midfield. And the first choice goalkeeper for Irvinstown is the sub goalkeeper. And if you can make sense of that, well, then you've certainly one of my puzzles for the afternoon solved. Fermanagh's first real attack. Easy ball for Paul Hirty. And the McNulty now plays his club football here in the capital with Ballyboden. Nice interplay. Right half back is Kieran Hughes. Surprisingly selected for the Ulster final. And certainly merited his opportunity. Paddy McKeever here. This is Hughes going back into a forward position. McKeever takes the return. Tries to sneak a ball through. Picked up by Tony McEntee. 4 Fermanagh players chasing after it, but McEntee fouled possession according to John Bannon. And it's going to be a free out for Fermanagh.
And he's going to feel very hard done by there. I mean, Tony McAtee couldn't have done a whole lot more. He tries to break the tackle and throw it out. But the free goes against him.
Now, here come Fermanagh. They're playing one man up on the full forward line. Here's Paul Hirty. Fine fielding. And lays it off to Kieran McGeeney. Confident play by the goalkeeper. But surprisingly, McGeeney kicks it over the sideline, far side. Here's a man who won 3 All-Ireland Club medals with Crossmaglen.
I actually thought he'd overstretched himself there. When the breeze took it, I put a little bit more distance and height on it. And Paul Hirty, he was, just hanging around the 13-metre line for a second. I thought he'd overrun it, but he made a great catch.
This is Marty McGrath from St. Joseph's Club in Ederney, Queen's University student. And as Kevin mentioned in the scene set there in the player profile, it was actually Mayo manager John Mullen that brought him in all of 3 years ago. He's been scoring well. Here's Charlie Mulgrew, took over the Fermanagh team in January. Made a bit of a reputation for himself in Donegal in charge of St. Eunan's of Letterkenny. Did well with that. And now makes the journey to Irvinstown and Enniskillen to train these young players. Support play, evident again. Shane McDermott has to try and lead the way. Correct decision here by the referee. There's some jersey pulling. Going to be a free for Fermanagh. Third free.
Yeah, no question about that. They're trying to break the tackle, which is very interesting. They're giving short pops in an attempt to break down the screen that Armagh have in front of them, and they're attempting to break it that way, but you can see once he attempted to get away, Armagh just closed in him. Don't mind coughing up the free there, Marty. It's 55 metres out. That's not going to pressurise them.
Stephen MacDonald seems to have picked up an injury here. A facial injury, a little bit of a cut there on the side of the face. Let's see what happened here. There was an elbow there, just an accidental knock, but so Stephen goes back in, corner forward. It's the other Stephen Maguire takes the free, floating this one in. Colin Bradley looking around, the support is there again. The shape of Peter Sherry comes back, and this is going over the crossbar. Fermanagh have registered their first score in this quarter-final. And a huge number of Fermanagh supporters rejoice. The ball was well blocked down. Comes back to Colin Bradley from Enniskillen Gales. Slots it over.
Yeah, that's a good point for Armagh to get. Excellent score.
Kieran Hughes pumping it in high and very long. Goalkeeper's off his line. Comes back to MacDonald. Good defending by Fermanagh, but momentarily there was a chance of a goal.
Well, this is where they're so dangerous. I mean, this is a tremendous kick right into the danger area. Up goes Ronan Clark with a little flick. Back to McDonald. McDonald brings that down quick, Marty. That's a great goal chance, but he really does very well. Controls the ball and lifts it over the bar. They're so dangerous on that high ball because they contest everything in around the box.
Well, the beauty of Armagh, really, Kevin, is the fact that they can play it either way. Short, long, high, low. They have a choice on the menu.
Yeah, but the quality of the kick in from right half back, I think it was Kieran Hughes that lurried it in. It was a massive bent of a ball, maybe 60 metres long.
Well, this 19-year-old from Irvinstown didn't even play in the National Football League. Niall Tinning tries to send it over to this side, gathered by Kieran O'Reilly, who's adopting a very deep role. So too is James Sherry, the full forward. Marty McGrath looks at options, tries to give it to his midfield partner, slips through. Coming forward from right half back is Raymond Johnson from Newton Butler, sending it in to Stephen Maguire, who's now operating on Francie Bellew at full forward as Fermanagh redesign their forward line. And Stephen Maguire, if you haven't seen him before, I can assure you this is a very good footballer.
He certainly is. I've seen him a few times this season. Francie Bellew was not a happy camper. He thought he was doing okay in the tackle stakes, but he did seem to be pulling him in towards him. John Bannon was in on it like a shot, and he's given a very good chance now here to Stephen Maguire to pump this one over.
Scored 18 points so far in the championship campaign. Stephen Maguire sends it over. Three points between the teams. 11.5 minutes played.
And it's a good game, Marty. It's settled down well. It's quite lively, very open. Lots of good attacking football from both sides, and of course the usual things we associate Armagh: good defending, blocking and harrying for the ball. And Fermanagh well settled now, so we could be in for a very decent game of football.
Fine catch by Paul McGrain. Giving it inside for Dermot Marsden. With him is Niall Bold from Canolly. Marsden from Clonagale. Paddy McKeever. Ballyhagan. Lovely little village in the county of Armagh. Back to MacDonald. This is a high ball, and it's not quite reaching the end line. It has now. And that is Armagh's first wide of the afternoon after 12.5 minutes of play. One other thing that we could talk about, Kevin, is the fact that both of these teams, particularly Fermanagh, like to play a short passing game. So actually playing against the breeze is not as big an obstacle.
No, and there certainly is a breeze down there. Even though if you look at the sideline flags, it wouldn't indicate a whole lot. But we did see the Artane boys band earlier, and those flags were fairly flying in the breeze. They have what advantage, and it's a very good point you make. The playing against the breeze won't faze them.
This is right half-back Raymond Johnson, half-blocked. Comes back to Dermot Marsden. Plenty of Fermanagh defenders there. And away comes Shane McDermott. Laying it off for Raymond Johnson. This is Liam McBarron. Faces club football with the Kilmacud Crokes here in Stillorgan in Dublin. Crossfield ball from Colin Bradley. End over first, Eamon Maguire. Scored a cracking goal against Donegal. Linesman at the far side indicates that it's going to be a sideline ball to Armagh. Andy Mallon. The back fires Paul Hearty. Available this side is Enda McNulty, who was calling for it, but it works out okay. Straight down the middle. Added to it by Marsden. Fermanagh coming to grips slowly. Beginning to play with a little bit more confidence, perhaps. That ball easily intercepted by Tony McEntee, and they could be in trouble here. Paddy McKeever to his right is Stephen MacDonald. McKeever goes left. And it's a terrible option, and Fermanagh gain a bit of confidence from this. Niall Bold from Canolly, student in Queen's University in Belfast. Leaving it in quickly. Intercepted, however, by Enda McNulty. Aidan O'Rourke is brought down by corner forward Kieran O'Reilly, and this is going to be Armagh's second free.
I can tell you, Stephen MacDonald was raging with Paddy McKeever there when he done that last solo run. He got really free, should have got the ball.
Should have. Aidan O'Rourke takes too many steps, and this is going to be a free for Fermanagh. Just interesting statistics for you as well, because when you see this battle ensuing, people think, well, this is going to be easy for Armagh. When they met in 2002, Armagh scored 16 points to Fermanagh's 1-5. There was only a point between them in 2000. This is Stephen Maguire. Referee says Francie was fouling. It's a free in for Fermanagh.
Stephen Maguire has given Francie Belly plenty of it. He's working very hard, and yeah, that's a foul, there's no question about that. The one point I'd make, Marty, from looking at it in overall context is, I just, after the electric start that Armagh had, I just see them getting a bit casual. They're not contesting the ball, as I would expect an Armagh team to do, and I'm just wondering if they've taken their foot off the gas a small bit.
Here's Stephen Maguire. An important kick for his county, and it's his second free. 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes played. Now just 2 points between the teams.
And that'll do his confidence a lot of good, because that was a tricky free. Off the ground they're difficult. Taking them out of their hands, they're extremely difficult from that angle. Judge the breeze lovely, and that will bring his confidence on a ton. Steve Maguire doing very well so far.
Kick out by Paul Hearty. Breaking ball, nipping in is Mark Little. Laying it off as Martin McBarron. And Fermanagh have settled. Eamon Maguire. Confident from St Patrick's Club to take on none other than Aidan O'Rourke. Still Maguire. Referee blows his whistle. And maybe there's a little sequence of play, Kevin. Maybe there's something for us to learn. Maybe just perhaps if Fermanagh continue to run at this Armagh defence, but really Armagh defensively don't particularly like it.
But you see, the point here is when you have a referee, John Manna is one of the best referees we have on the scene at the moment. In that last sequence of play, he was fouled about 3 times. In fact, he got the free on the 3rd foul because they're not only putting in their hand, they're jersey pulling. Here's Maguire again.
Oh, it was close. It's his 3rd free. And now, just 1 point between the teams.
Marty, that wasn't kicked over, it fell over.
Well, if you're from Fermanagh, I think you had a bit of a mild heart attack there because it seemed to be drifting to the right. Paul Hearty opts to send it over towards the Cusick stand. Dermot Marsden can't keep it in. Or rather, John Toll actually. That's going to be a sideline ball for Fermanagh. This is Shane McDermott. Nipping in is Tony McEntee. Coming forward, Andy Mallon. Back to McEntee. Kieran McGeaney. Good play by Armagh. Paul McGrain. Mark Little is back there. This is Paddy McKeever. Ronan Clark. He has options available. Ronan Clark was fouled. Fermanagh are incensed. But I don't really think they're right. I think the referee was correct.
Yeah, they can be as incensed as they want to. In fact, like the previous little one, there was 2 fouls in this again because this tackle with the boot, that's a free in for sure. You see it coming there. And look, there's the jersey pull and 2 guys falling down on top of him. That's lazy tackling, and that's the sort of stuff Fermanagh just can't afford against a team with disability.
Stephen McDonnell has scored 4 times. Once from a free. More or less dead straight in front of the posts. Kicks it over. There's 5th point. And his free taking should at least please one of our analysts today, Martin Carney. He likes to see the ball on the ground when a free has been taken.
And let me tell you, he's dead right. That's the only way to take them. The other ones are fine when you're up 4 or 5 points, taking it out of the hand, and life is good. But when it gets tight and when you start sweating and choking a bit, it's always better to have it on the floor.
Punched on. Liam McBarron. Space opening up for big full forward James Sherry. Options available. Decides to go for a score, and the white flag will be raised. Rosslay's James Sherry gets his first point in this quarter-final. 19-year-old physiotherapy student in UCD here in Dublin, going forward and scoring his first point in this quarter-final.
Yeah, and you might recall he came up with a lovely medley of scores in the Cork match as well. James Sherry knows where the post is, and it was crucial when they got the open space that he actually executed and got that score.
Mark Little playing a deep extra half-back role. Marty McGrath was fouled previously, and this is going to be a free for Fermanagh. They're 8 free of the first half.
I think he's going to book, well, he's certainly ticking the Armagh number 9, Paul McGrain. Tackling with the fist is what he indicated.
Fermanagh once more. Without a boot. Laying it off, Colin Bradley. The support provided by Peter Sherry. It's a terrible pass. Really no option at all available there, and very quickly Armagh counter-attack. 2 Armagh players collide. Inside is Kieran O'Reilly. Mark Little. Oh, Francie arrived. And the block down is superb. And out for a 45.
Yeah, Francie needed to arrive, and he did, Marty, as you... it was excellent, well timed. This is a perfect hit. It's a goal chance, you see, if Francie doesn't cover. Shoulder to shoulder, bang, and the ball spills out of him. And a good block for ending up at a 45.
First 45 of the afternoon for Armagh, for Fermanagh. And this is going to be taken by Colin Bradley as we look at Francie Bellew, who of course won 3 All-Ireland. Let's look at the statistics here. 51% Armagh, 49 for Fermanagh. It wasn't like that in the first 5 minutes, but now you can see statistical information changing as Fermanagh get a grip.
Yeah, sometimes I look at those statistical charts and you think, God, that couldn't be. But actually, that's
true.
one I would agree with.
Yeah.
Fermanagh actually do appear to have an awful lot of the ball, and they're well in this game. 1 point down. If Bradley was to put this one over the bar, we've a draw match.
Francie Bellew, one of the few players that I know has his own website, a fan site. Haven't visited, and maybe this is the reason why. It's hard shoulder-to-shoulder football by brave Francie Bellew from Crossmaglen.
Would you let your children get on that website?
Great-hearted player, and Joe Kernan in particular is very fond of Francie Bellew. Saw him as a 10-year-old and graduate right here to the biggest venue of them all here at Croke Park. Colin Bradley. This one dropping in, and it's over the bar. Well. Armagh and Fermanagh level for the first time. And as always, we're doing the Bank of Ireland RT Man of the Match competition. You pick the player that you think will win the awards. That's the number 1515717181. And if it coincides, Northern Ireland 0901 0630 117. So start making your choices. Says Armagh with Ronan Clark, lays it back. Well gathered by Paul McGrain. Well robbed by James Sherry. And the crowd now in Croke Park, neutrals and indeed a large contingent from Fermanagh, getting behind the teenage sensations from Fermanagh. Playing nice football. Eamon Maguire surrounded by 4 Armagh players. It squeezes out. Whereas left half forward Mark Little. This is Little. Available is McBarron. Back he comes to Shane McDermott, lending assistance to his attack. Referee says his jersey, his arm was being held, and this is going to be a free for Fermanagh.
Marty, I can definitely say that John Bannon is refereeing this in a manner that a lot of teams have been saying is only right and fair, that he's really getting tied in on the tackling. He's watching for people that are pulling jerseys and holding hands, and you have to say he's doing a fine job of it.
And Fermanagh are bringing in Tom Brewster for Kieran O'Reilly. And Tom Brewster from Enniskillen came on for Liam McBarron against Donegal, and he came on against Cork as well and scored a great point. Young player that just returned from Australia. This is Colin Bradley. Scored already from this distance. This one, however, is tailing to the left. First wide of the game for Fermanagh.
It's actually amazing. We've had 25 minutes of football, good attacking football, and only 1 wide each for Armagh and Fermanagh.
Well, somebody said that they were expecting this to be a game that we'd have to bring our flask of tea and sandwiches and have a chat about everything, but certainly this is turning out to be a most entertaining game of football. And Fermanagh are putting it up to the Ulster Kingpins. Good reading of the game by Shane McDermott, the captain, leading by example, laying it off far as Peter Sherry to James Sherry, his brother, Liam McBarron. Dropping this one in, gathered by Mark Little. Paddy McKeever fouls him, and this is going to be a free dead straight in front of the post. And you'd have to say at this stage, to be fair, the long ball strategy is working for Fermanagh. It's causing problems. The Armagh defence in there deep seem to have a problem.
Yeah, and the point, I agree absolutely, Marty, there's no question about that, because they're getting a handed and looking for the breaks, but Armagh just are off the zip at the moment. There's no question about that.
Almost 26 minutes played. Is this going to put Fermanagh in front for the very first time? Well, I'll reiterate a point I made earlier, Kevin. These Fermanagh boys are slow to get going, but when they do, they certainly play a lovely, lovely brand of football.
And it is a lovely brand of football to look at. Joe Kernan is going bananas down on the sideline, because I think he's identified what we've been saying. There is no life to our man the last 20 minutes.
Liam McBarron knocks it down. Aidan O'Rourke. Good play by Paul McGrain. Going forward. Lays it back outside to Big John Toll. This one is hit to the left and wide. When I spoke to Joe Kernan, and I think it was last week actually, Kevin, he emphasised to me that he'd be a little bit apprehensive about Fermanagh on the basis that if they get a run on you and they get their momentum going, it's very hard to catch them because they hold no fears.
Yeah, well, lads, I mean, they're all kids, very innocent, they play with great abandon, and they are... Oh, look at
here. Great ball. Paul Herty has to come off his line. Good goalkeeping. And the long ball is working every single time for Fermanagh. Here's Paddy McKeever. Kieran McGeeney lends support. Long ball inside, this time from an Armagh perspective, is aimed at Diarmuid Marsden. Marsden. Well, that's not what you call a Diarmuid Marsden special. Scored a point in the opening 10 minutes, but that one will be a disappointment to him.
And can I just make one other point, Marty, as well? Armagh, you know, they're notorious for preparing in fine detail for everything that could come up against. I think one thing they haven't prepared as much as is meeting referee like John Bannon, who's refereeing this one very much by rule.
Oh, lovely catch by Marty McGrath. Lays it off to Raymond Johnson. This is, by the way, Fermanagh. The no-hopers, they said, coming to Croke Park. So far, they're producing it here. Lovely ball again. In towards Mark Little. He needs the support of his colleague from the half-forward line, Stephen Maguire, with the left post. Ah, magic! It's his first from play. There's nobody in Lisnaskey. There's nobody in left in Fermanagh. They must all be in Croke Park. And so far, when you look at it from our camera over in the Cusick stand, Fermanagh are playing with great confidence.
And that's the point of the game there by Steve Maguire. A lovely dish by the number 12 Mark Little after a lovely knockdown from a lovely long foot pass. A lovely simple score.
Ball inside. This time Colin Bradley was fouling. Referee spotting the foul. And the free was quickly taken but didn't quite avail of it for Fermanagh. Tony McEntee spreading the ball over to this side. Great tackle again by Niall Bogue. And you just feel, the point you were making, Kevin, is a valid one. You just feel that Armagh haven't actually cranked up the engine.
Well, like, you look at that ball that's coming across to Kieran Hughes. Kieran Hughes is the winner for that ball. There's no question about that. What is Neil Bogue doing, getting a hand to that? He's getting a hand to it because he has a lot of desire to get a hand to it, and the Armagh defender didn't commit himself to winning that ball quickly.
Marty McGrath is the player down injured again. Has been scoring well. 2 points against Tyrone in the Ulster match, and 2 points against Donegal the last day. And certainly here in Croke Park, and I was above in Lisnaskey a couple of weeks ago, the place was just covered in green and white. Charlie McGrew has certainly brought wonderful confidence to this Fermanagh side. They love their football in Fermanagh. They've been the only county in Ulster that don't have a provincial title, and they've been dreaming about building a team, trying to create and establish a side that could take on the best, and here they are in Croke Park. And maybe that run that they had, that all the critics were saying, well, Meath were on the way down, Cork are building, well, maybe they just might take up and sit up and take notice now. So far, it's early days, but so far you'd have to say Fermanagh are really putting it up to the Ulster champions. Look at this for combination play. 4 or 5 passes. Taking it away is Raymond Johnson. Now where is the marking on this man? It's Eamon Maguire. His father is a selector, Sean, from St. Patrick's in Duna in County Fermanagh. It's a terrible ball. Francie Bellew left it behind him. A chance for Stephen Maguire. Oh dear. He should have done better. He really should have done better.
Oh, and Stephen will know this, because there's a double tap on a play like this. You know, you have a guy like Francie Bellew coming out, he leaves it behind him. That's a big call, and then, you know, miss it like that. Terrible wide.
And Armagh make a substitution. Coming on is Brian Mallon. It looks like John Toll is the player that's making way. And Brian Mallon is a player that they think highly of, from Tiernan Club in Portadown. First year on the panel. Scored 2 points against Cavan when he was introduced as a substitute. Here come Fermanagh again. Tom Brewster. Overcarried. 3 out to Armagh.
They've got to keep that ball moving. That's the last thing they can do, is bring it into the tackle. We've talked about this all season against a side like Fermanagh or Tyrone. You cannot bring that ball into traffic because they're going to gobble you.
Great defending by Raymond Johnson. McBarron laying it off to Tom Brewster, using the long ball. It's coming here again. Oh, great rob by Andy Mallon. Good defending by the corner back. Kieran McGeeney, as always, makes himself available. Paddy McKeever, Kieran Hughes, Aidan O'Rourke, giving it long over to Stephen McDonald, but the ball carries too much power, and not even Stephen McDonald on a motorbike could reach that one. So it's going to be a free for a sideline ball, rather, for Fermanagh.
You know, as Croke Park fills up, Marty, you just look around. It's a huge crowd for Fermanagh have made the trip here to Croke Park. They have a great sense of belief in this young team, and so far, I know I didn't give them much of a chance, but I have to eat my words. They're really putting it up to them.
Paul McGrain, Stephen McDonald, Martin McGrath is injured for Fermanagh at the moment, and look at that terrible passing by McDonald. I haven't seen him do that in a long time, if ever. This is Liam McBarron. Francie Bellew reading the situation well, lays it off to the big number 8, Philip Loughran. Andy Mallon back to Francie Bellew. Martin McGrath still getting attention just off camera at the moment as Armagh go into the attack. Chasing after this is Brian Mallon, trying to get inside the cover of Shane McDermott. Back outside towards Ronan Clark. Ball half blocked down. Chance here for Dermot Marsden. Oh, off the post. Oh, my word. What a beautiful flick by Marsden. And Niall Tinney was left stranded, coming back off the crossbar after 33 minutes of play. It's a let-off for Fermanagh. Can they respond? Stephen Maguire. Options available to him. Goes for the crossfield ball over towards Mark Little. From Lisnaskey, willing to take on Andy Mallon.
There you go again, Marty. Jersey pulling. I was going to say to you about a minute ago about the importance of not conceding a goal as we come up to half time, and then we see Jared Marsden slip in, the chance that you were just describing. Fantastic flick. But maybe their luck is in today, Marty. Hit the crossbar, came back into play.
It really was a wonderful sequence of play as we look at Mark Little being fouled here by Andy Mallon, and they have Jersey pulling, and John Bannon is absolutely correct. And it's about time, as you said earlier, Kevin, that somebody actually took on the responsibility and being a little bit more meticulous.
It's a point a lot of people have made to me over the last few months, indeed the last season or two, is that a lot of this tackling and blanket defence is made up of people pulling you in quickly by the jersey, letting go so they have you in close so they can put heat on the ball. And, well, look at the pictures yourself.
Here's a chance for Fermanagh. That ball just swinging across the face of the goal. It was a difficult angle for Tom Brewster. Third wide of the half for Fermanagh. Paul Hearty. Second championship season, first choice. Formerly deputy to Benny Tierney. Yet to concede a goal in the championship. This is the incident again.
Oh, there's a great flick, Marty. See that there? That's really fast thinking. Oh, it's only inches. It's so unlucky. And as I said to you, maybe that's the sort of thing that Fermanagh need.
Fantastic catch by Marty McGrath. And he has injury problems. Tom Brewster. Francie Bellew. There's a man inside, but Armagh have it well covered through Enda McNulty. Down towards Tony McEntee. 3 minutes of additional time in the first half to be added on, as you can see. Top of your screen. As Fermanagh. Oh dear.
Oh, he's in trouble.
There was a clear punch on Marty McGrath, and no question whatsoever that the Armagh player here connected.
Marty is making every effort to get up, in all fairness to him, but it looked a high one. It looks like Enda McNulty, is it?
The referee, it is Enda McNulty. The referee was just blocking his view.
Oh,
he's giving him a red card. Armagh are down to 14 players.
Oh, we'll have to have a look at this one, Marty. He pops it. You'll see it coming down. There's Marty popping it. Oh yeah, he's absolutely gone.
Had to be sent off. end of McNulty was very, very silly, and the referee, John Bannon, totally correct.
Well, I'll make the point, in all fairness, Marty McGrath made a couple of attempts to get up and not make a meal of it. You can see he's been taken off on the Cusick side now for attention. That was a very silly tackle by end of McNulty. Had to
no need whatsoever for it, played in a very sporting encounter. But and I don't want to be dwelling too much on the referee because they have bad days, but to be fair to John Bannon, he has been the epitome of consistency, because some referees might have just given yellow, but he's been very, very strict in this game.
Well, for me, Marty, you know, as I say, I look at the rules and I look at the games the season go by. For me now, that is an absolutely excellent display of refereeing.
Now, can Fermanagh capitalise on numerical advantage? Even when it was even Stevens, they were putting it up to Armagh. And at the moment, Fermanagh enjoy a 2-point advantage.
I say Joe Kernan just can't wait to get these guys into the dressing room, Marty.
Hugh Brady, by the way, is coming on as a blood substitute. So Hughie Brady is on momentarily for Marty McGrath. He's still getting attention over the far side. Here's Tony McEntee going forward, looking around, seeing if there are any options. Very few at the moment, it must be said. Where will Fermanagh play the extra man? Here's Ronan Clark. It looks like they're going to play him as an extra half-back, Ronan Clark. And temper's becoming a little bit frayed here. Passions aroused. As Fermanagh, the Ulster champions, fully realise and appreciate this is going to be a match all the way to the wire.
Well, let me just bring you up to speed with this spare man. It is Shane McDermott playing at centre-back.
Hughie Brady, the blood substitute, goes into the Cusick stand dressing rooms as Marty McGrath continues to get medical attention. Joe Kernan, as Kevin was saying, will be glad to get his team into the dressing room, because while they really ignited in the first 5 or 10 minutes, Fermanagh, who are notorious slow settlers, have come back into this match. And amazingly, Fermanagh, the no-hopers, the outsiders completely, are leading at half-time. Fermanagh 8 points, Armagh 6 points. Let's go down to the sideline for some half-time reaction. Join our sideline reporter today, Jim Carney.
Yes, thank you, Marty. We're joined by Sean Maguire, Fermanagh selector, and Benny Tierney, who's in the Armagh camp. Sean Maguire, this will be a happy Fermanagh dressing room at half-time, surely?
Well, it's only halfway through. I suppose we'd have to say after the bad start we had, we're happy with the second half of that first half. We were lucky didn't give away a goal there. But there's one thing I will say, like, we came here to win this match, and make no doubt about it. If we don't win it, it won't be for the want of trying, and I think them players out there have shown that so far in this game.
Fair enough. Okay, thanks for staying out to talk to us, Sean. Best luck in the second half. Benny, it will be a much less happy dressing room, the Armagh dressing room. You have a lot of things to be worried about.
Started off very well, but unfortunately the last 20 minutes for Man have bossed it. They're bossing it all over the field, and unless there's rapid changes within our camp, we're going to be beaten here today. But we're well renowned as a fighting team and a battling team, and much has been said about this team, and I just hope they use those battling qualities in the second half.
But you're down a man.
We're down a man, but sometimes that can work for you, you know what I mean? So maybe they'll take the foot off the pedal a wee bit, hopefully in the second half, because they really are steamrolling us at the minute.
Okay, thanks for staying out to talk to us, Benny. Thank you. And with that, back to Michael.
Jim Carney, thank you very much indeed. So Fermanagh with the advantage then at half-time, much to, I think, a lot of people's surprise. 8 points to 6 it stands. Martin Carney and Joe Brawley here with me. Fermanagh have gone and played very well in the latter stages of that half.
Very much so, Michael, when you consider they went 4 points to 0 down. But since then they've been irrepressible and irresistible. They're going for everything on the field. They're first to every ball. It's the biggest truism in Gaelic football. Get first to the ball and you're halfway there. And they're playing with great variety to the game. They're getting out first in the back line. There's Steve Maguire's giving great leadership. And the two wee fellas at wing forward, Little and the other Maguire lad, playing very, very well. But I think a lot of it is down to the fact that Armagh came into this game thinking that they could win it in third gear. And hold on a minute, it's half-time and they're in big trouble.
Well, they're going to have to crank it up now, Joe Brawley. There's no doubt about that. They're a man down as well. Now, everything depends here on how Fermanagh play this extra man. Sometimes it can be a disadvantage if you don't use it right.
It can be a strong motivational factor. We saw when Armagh had a man sent off against Dublin last year. And also, it's early days. I mean, I didn't expect it, at all that Armagh would come out and walk this match, because they're notorious in games like this for making it very tight for themselves and very hard. But, Fermanagh are playing, they've absolutely no respect for Armagh, and they're playing with plenty of gay abandon, and they're really making it very interesting, although I would still be very surprised if Armagh don't come through, notwithstanding the numerical disadvantage.
OK, well, the panel still feel that Armagh might shade this one, but it's Fermanagh that shades on the scoreboard. More analysis after the break. As you can see, Armagh are out on the pitch. Martin Carney As you can see, Armagh are out on the pitch. Martin Carney, when is the last time we saw Armagh out first from the dressing room of Croke Park?
It's a long, long time, Michael, because they have patented the whole thing of coming out second, actually, you know. But it shows the unease that is probably in that dressing room, and Joe wouldn't have had much to say to them at half-time except get out and win it. Because today, so far, Michael, the radar is spluttering. They're not playing particularly well. And there was in the paper today about a new swarm of wasps identified in Ireland. But I think they're wearing green jerseys today.
Well, on that note, Martin Carney, we can say better, so let's go back to Kevin McStay and Marty Morrissey.
And thank you very much for the botany lesson as well, as we come back live here to Croke Park. And indeed, it's interesting, as the lads were saying there at half-time, that Armagh came out first. They even had a pep talk as normal with Kieran McGeeney. He brings them out of the dressing room, stops along the corridor and has a final few words. Andrew McCann, who normally plays left half-back, has been introduced at half-time by Joe Kernan. Now plays his club football in Leixlip, and he's coming on at corner back. And we'll tell you in a moment who exactly has gone off. It looks like the player that's gone off is Brian Mallon. So they're adopting a defensive role and taking off Brian Mallon. That's what we think. We'll confirm that when we see it for definite.
And what's interesting there, Marty, is John Toll replaces Oisin McConville. Then we've Brian Mallon coming on for John Toll, and now we've Andy McCann coming on for Brian Mallon. So none of the substitutes has worked for our man. Sometimes you have groundhog days like this. They really need to wake up from their lethargy from the first half and get cracking, or else this game is going to run away from them. Remember, though, Armagh have the breeze.
Fermanagh playing from left to right. And judging by the flag down on the grounds, Kevin, I think that wind has changed just slightly. Seems to be favouring Fermanagh. And Armagh will try to upset these challengers in the early stages now, as they did the first half. Stephen McDonald backfires Aidan O'Rourke. McDonald wants it, calling for it. Nobody running crossfield ball. He has to go short. Fires right half back, Kieran Hughes. Now they'll cross it to Kieran McGeeney. Starting the process far side. Plenty of Fermanagh players. Remember, Fermanagh, in case you've just joined us, now with numerical advantage. There's a high challenge there by Sean Curry. And the referee again is going to take matters in control here.
Yeah, this is a yellow card offence. No question about that. He catches him with his left arm and swings him around the neck. And John Bannon's in control. He's just waiting for things to settle down. And I've no doubt that's going to be a yellow card.
So John Bannon is having a word there and giving a yellow card. As the referee, obviously there's a change in the change of jerseys there. As referee, we'll tell you about that just a moment. We'll confirm it. Paddy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. Marty McGrath is number 31. As change of jerseys in the blood substitution as Paddy McKeever drops this in. And well gathered by Barry Owens. Laying it off as Liam McBarron. Fermanagh going forward. Ball for Mark Little to run and to win. Great defending by Andy Mallon. Back to the number 20 substitute, Andrew McCann. Now operating at right corner back. Laying it off as Paul McGrain. Dropping this in. 2 against 2 here. Barry Owens combining with Ryan McCluskey. This is Stephen McDonald. Looking for a little bit of support. It comes in the form of Paul McGrain, who loses possession. Good defending by Fermanagh. Marty McGrath. They're playing it very tight. They need to be a little bit more expansive. Nice pickup by Liam McBarron. Ronan Clark and Kieran McGeeney between them. Win possession and win themselves a free.
Well, that's just poor defending by Fermanagh. Bad hand passing in tight space. They turn the ball over. Kieran McGeeney comes up with it. Just have a look for Kieran here when he bursts out. Watch the hand going, grabbing the Fermanagh hand and pulling it in with him. He's got away with it.
It's an old trick, and it seems to work occasionally, as Paddy McKeever, who certainly went on a scoring spree against Donegal with a goal in 3. This could be his first, and the white flag is raised. First point for Paddy McKeever comes from a free.
Well, these are the small inches, Marty, that count in these big championship matches. They get a handy enough free, but Paddy McKeever is good enough to convert it. It takes another point off the deficit, and they're the small little things you have to keep scrapping for.
Niall Tinney's kick out, straight down the middle. Breaking ball, picked up by Tony McEntee. Laying it off, there's Paul McGrain. This is good play, Paddy McKeever in space. Good opportunity here, flicks it inside, there's McDonald, and McDonald sends it over the bar. Half a dozen points for Stephen McDonald, and Armagh level for the second time with Fermanagh after 4 minutes of play in the second half.
Lovely ball by Hughes. Look at McKeever, he's thinking about the goal. The minute he gets it though, McDonald knows exactly what he wants to do, over the bar.
This was McKeever giving it into McDonald. 3 Fermanagh players around him. The Ulster champions not going to go down without a major fight. It's important for Fermanagh to keep control and keep possession. Thus, the quick ball and quick kick out is a good option. Stephen Maguire now, with Kieran McGeeney with him. McGeeney wins it fairly, lays it back. Whereas big Philip Loughran. He was fouled, so it's going to be a free for Armagh. Kieran McGeeney looking for the run. Stephen McDonald just took his eye off it momentarily. Ryan McCluskey comes away with it. Gives it down for his Eamon Maguire. Into the space, trying to lay it in front of Colin Bradley. Did well. They know what they're doing, these Fermanagh boys. Laying it back for Stephen Maguire. Into the corner, into the space. Tom Brewster. Difficult angle, very difficult. And was not the right option to take.
Well, there's a man who's played a lot of football at midfield. That's the best I can do for him with an effort like that. With a left foot, playing at left corner forward. This is a very difficult execution if you're going to hit it with the outside of the boot. Miscues it completely. Very poor wide.
Oh, fine catch by Philip Loughran and Clady. The man down injured. You can see where Marty McGrath has that bandage that fooled us at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, what's happened here is Lee McBurn, watch the hand going back. He's just swinging to get free, and there he gets it. He's an aggressive player, Philip Loughran. You can't put that down to anything sinister, Marty. He's trying to get out of the tackle. He is swinging a bit, but that comes with the cut and trusted championship.
And Philip Loughran plays his club football with a junior club, Clady, just between Armagh and Newry. And he's a player, of course, that was injured in the warm-up on the Wednesday night before the Cavan game and had a calf muscle problem. And certainly the player that he collided with there, Liam McBarron, is suffering a very nasty facial injury. Former Kinawley player. Well, Liam is in trouble here.
I've had a chance, Marty, there to look at like the rest of the viewers in slow motion, and no, I still don't change my opinion critically on it. It's you know, he's trying to break free the tackle. He's a tall guy, Philip Loughran. He's 6 foot plus. He's swinging to get free, and he's made contact, but I don't think it was anything intentional.
Let's see it here again. I think it's a justifiable argument, Kevin, but Liam McBarron is gone off for attention, and on is Hughie Brady. Normally plays cornerback, and was actually sent off in the match against Tyrone as Kieran McGeeney hits this with conviction.
It's a huge point for McGeeney, Marty. Absolutely huge point, an inspirational point for McGeeney. You know, he's the captain, he's taking it on. He's on his wrong side, but he hits that a big wallop with the kid dog foot, and it sails over the bar. How big a score is that going to be?
Well, it's his first here in the quarter-final. Kieran McGeeney, ex-Mullabone, now of course Napina, leading by example. Fermanagh, remember, playing with an extra player after Enda McNulty sent off in the first half, but like the first half, it is Armagh that have settled the quickest and certainly are putting it up to their challengers. Ball down towards Quincy Value, but unfortunately from an Armagh perspective it was Andy Mallon that was fouling. So it's going to be a free in for Fermanagh.
And you can hear the fans in the background, the Armagh fans especially, they are not happy with John Bannon's interpretation. And I have to say the reason is, Marty, they haven't come across this type of tight, consistent refereeing, perhaps.
And again, I think Andy Mallon was fouling.
Absolutely.
So this is a chance here for Tom Brewster from Enniskillen and Gales. Scored a point against Cork, a point against Donegal. Yet to score here in Croke Park on quarter-final day. It's looking good. White flag up. It's his first point in this quarter-final. Level for the third time after 9 minutes of the second half.
And a critical free for Tom Brewster. Of course, he has the left foot that's going to favour that type of kicker from the right-hand side. But he hits a lovely ball, Marty. Lovely bit of curl, lovely height, and it swings just inside the near post. And we've level pegging again.
Paul Hearty aims for big Philip Lockwood. Breaking ball picked up by Aidan O'Rourke. Available in the centre is Diarmuid Marsden. Has to go back to O'Rourke for support. Tended pass well read, but O'Rourke gets it back. Here's Diarmuid Marsden. Fouled as he was about to take the kick by Niall Bold. And that's going to be a free in for Armagh, just outside the Fermanagh 45. No question here.
No question.
So Stephen McDonnell again from Killeavy going to take this. Score of 6 points. 4 from play, 2 from frees.
Haven't seen him take them from this sort of distance before. This could be right on his range now. I just haven't seen him taking them from 45, 50 metres out.
Didn't quite connect properly. Another foul. This time on Ronan Clark by Barry Owens. Barry Owens is disappointed with himself more than anything else. And it gives Armagh a relatively easy free just to the left of the post.
Look how silly this is. Look, he's not going to get that ball. He has no chance of getting that ball. And he just jumps across him. He's picked up a yellow as well.
Personal foul by Barry Owens, and as you say, rather silly. They need to keep their composure.
Well, it's all fine being, aggressive, going for the ball, Marty, and giving it everything you have. But there comes a moment in a defender's life when he says, I ain't going to get this one. I'll stay on my feet and I'll cover off.
Stephen McDonnell going for his 7th point. It's a simple tap over. So now for Stephen McDonnell, it's 7 points, 4 from play and 3 from frees.
He's some player, Marty. I mean, he's just lobbing these over for fun. Play or from frees, he's absolutely super.
And again from Anna, wisely I feel, Bill from the back. McDermott, fortunate to get away with that. Niall Bow gathers. Ryan McCluskey. It's a poor pass. And the ball still in play, surprisingly. Going back to gather is Kieran Hughes. Under a little bit of pressure from Colin Bradley. Tony McEntee. You have to say at the moment it's Armagh that look like they have numerical advantage. Stephen McDonnell laying it inside to Ronan Clark. Clark wins the tussle for possession. Is he brought down inside the large rectangle? There's really ridiculous stuff, and the referee still, I don't think, has blown his whistle.
I think he's going to hop it on the 20 metre, you'll find.
Well, I question whether or not Ronan Clark was fouled here inside the large rectangle, Kevin.
We'll have a look at it, Marty. I don't think so. Barry Owens doing a good job. He's holding his hand a wee bit. Nah, there's no foul there. No question. If anything, it might have been taken off the ground, but yeah, he's going to hop it on the 20. That's a good call.
It is a good call. Well gathered. Laying it off, but intercepted superbly by Shane McDermott. Armagh chasing in numbers, despite being down a player. Now Fermanagh. After 12 minutes of play in the second half. It's normally around now they begin to sparkle. Colin Bradley unable to keep it in. Sideline ball, Armagh.
The inside pass, Marty, was too high. It's hanging too long, and that favours the strong physical defender. And he did very, very well, Mallon.
Paul McGrain. Giving it back fires Andrew McCann. Aidan O'Rourke. It's here really that Fermanagh have to put the pressure on Armagh, getting a boot to it. As Andrew was rather Peter Sherry. This is Philip Loughran. Plenty of players there for Fermanagh. And they start again. Hughie Brady. Into the space. Now they've got to capitalise. Running. Eamon Maguire. Getting by one challenge. They descend on him in numbers, but Maguire gets the kick in and sends it over the bar. Wonderful run by Eamon Maguire.
I can tell you the Armagh defenders are not happy with that. They saw that one as going wide. But this is the one-on-one that Armagh hate to see. Okay, he takes him on beautifully, swings it over. I think it's young Maguire, and swings it over beautifully. Eamon Maguire. Armagh not happy with that. We might get a different angle of it again. That one won't tell us a lot just now. But contentious score, no doubt about it.
Contentious or not, they're level for the fourth time after 14 minutes in the second half. Ball sent in towards Stephen Maguire. Francie Bellew. Fouling perhaps. Referee says play on. Colin Bradley is working over there on the far side. Difficult enough angle and it's well wide. Terrible waste of possession. Yeah. It's Fermanagh's fifth wide of the game. They're second in the second half. And we wonder if this was really a point by Eamon Maguire. Let's see as we look at the far angle. This is the shot. And I would say so, I have to say. Yeah, just about. Yeah, we'll give that one. Picked up by Paul McGrain. Pumping it in. Gathering it was Ryan McCluskey. Played a bit of football.
Here we go again. It's after the dish, do you see? The late bent is coming in. We'll be able to see it here.
This is it again. Stephen McDonald coming in. Oh,
geez.
And Stephen McDonald should be sent off. No question.
But I don't think he's going to spot it. I'd say it's a yellow.
It's a yellow card.
Yeah.
But that should have been a sending off by Stephen McDonald. There was no place at all in the game where there's a punch after the ball has been delivered.
Yeah. The problem, Marty, we were looking at it as well. It looked like that old check that Martin was talking about. But this is very, very cynical. Oh. That's very, very cynical. He's really lucky to be left on the field. He should be gone for an act like that. There's no question about it. I have sympathies with the referee because, you know, it looks like a check. We only picked it up on the slow-mo. But
perhaps though, Kevin, he should have consulted the linesman or the umpires who would have at least given him additional information.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and it's obvious as well by the Fermanagh player on the ground. I didn't pick up his number, Marty, who it was. It's actually
Ryan
number
McCluskey.
4, Ryan McCluskey. You know, it's obvious that he's got a fair belt. He hasn't just been checked after the ball. He's not down there for fun.
And Ryan McCluskey down on the ground as Joe Kernan ponders, wonders, can he get out of this one alive? Ryan McCluskey played a bit of football across channel with Carlisle at a time when Roddy Collins, one of the great characters of the game of football. Here it is again. McCluskey first to the ball. Now watch McDonald punch into the face. No question.
You could see Roddy coming out of his box if he was manager of Ryan at this stage of it. The Rod squad would be after McDonald. There's no question about that.
Now let's see what Fermanagh can do now. Eamon Maguire gets the free. They're beginning to work a little bit harder. And like the first half, Armagh can at them all guns blazing. Stephen Maguire with Francie Bellew lays it off to James Sherry. Brian Mark Little. Good work again by Armagh this time. Andrew McCann gets the benefit of the doubt, wins himself a free. And that's going to be a chance for Armagh to reorganise. Tony McEntee. Referee finally gives the free to Tony.
Marsden is gone.
Marsden wants it quickly, as you say, Kevin. Goes into the space. Easily gathered by Barry Owens. The long ball is used down towards Mark Little. Not Mark Little from prime time, Mark Little from Fermanagh. Giving it inside, where's Shane McDermott? Going into the space, getting by one defender. The captain of Fermanagh going for the score. Puts it and sends it wide.
Oh, that's atrocious wide.
It was an opportunity for Fermanagh.
Oh, Marty, that's a great opportunity with the team stuck on 10 points each. A marvellous opportunity. Could have fisted it over or just curled it over. Didn't do it.
Here's some information for you. 51% for Fermanagh. They have a 2% gain at the moment in terms of possession. Armagh with 49. Shane McDermott is the player that's down injured for Fermanagh, but they're thinking about introducing in the Armagh camp Kevin McElvanna from Madden. It's a junior club. Played against Antrim last year and did very well, and came on as a substitute against Cavan and scored a great point. And the player that's coming off is Aidan O'Rourke.
Marty, just an interesting observation perhaps. When you have a look at all the medical attention, and this is not a reflection on, we have seen two cynical pieces of play, there's no question about that. This isn't a reflection on Armagh at all. I suppose it's more a compliment to their physical power. All the medical attention has been on the Fermanagh side. They've been taking big hits and maybe not used to the sort of intensity Armagh bring to it, but he's up and going again.
So Shane McDermott from the St Patrick's Club in Dunna, that's between Tom Butler and Lisnaskey, scored a great point against Donegal. Captain, 26 years of age. As Paul Hearty takes the kick out. Paul McGrain easily gathers. Laying it off far as Kieran McGeaney. McGrain, look at the support by McGrain, just to the right. McGeaney hits it, and it goes in for his Niall Tinney. Just a few centimetres short. And Fermanagh regroup. Shane McDermott recovered from an injury moments ago. Goes forward, lays it off for his Niall Bold from Kinawley. Made his name during the National Football League. Down for his Colin Bradley. 24-year-old student journalist playing a corner forward. Great block down. Fermanagh have it once more. They need to hold possession. Cutting it across is Eamon Maguire. Far as Marty McGrath. Nice little sidestep. Able to score from here, but it's tailing off his boot and well wide. They need to continue to open it up if they're going to have any chance, Fermanagh.
Well, you see, Fermanagh have the extra man, and all they have to do is keep flashing the ball around.
Substitute coming on the Armagh team, Oisín McConville, despite the hamstring problem, has been called in. There's a bit of an emergency down in Armagh, and hamstring or no hamstring, they have to try and make an impact. It looks like Tony McEntee is the player who's going to make way. It's Paddy McKeever, in fact.
Yeah.
Paddy McKeever that's coming on or off, and Oisín McConville is on. And that's Armagh's fourth substitute.
And that gives you an idea, an extent to the gravity of the situation for Armagh.
Well won by Philip Loughran. Through for Armagh. Kieran McGeaney. The run by McDonald. He's over towards the Cusack stand, but he uses Ronan Clark. Punched down by Barry Owens. Picked up by Niall Bold. In towards the centre where Stephen Maguire is available. Kieran McGeaney. Three Armagh players around him. And I have to say, unless that was a clenched fist, it's probably the only decision I'd ever disagreed with John Bannon. Yeah. And for dissent, there's an extra 13 metres.
They're not happy. Joe Curran isn't happy. Joe came onto the field there to remonstrate with John Bannon. I have to agree with you, Marty. That was a very, very handy one.
This is Tom Brewster. Just took his eye off it just slightly. And Armagh regained possession in a game that was supposed to be a curtain raiser to the main event. This looks like the main course at the moment, as we await later on Mayo and Tyrone. This is Ryan McCluskey laying it off as Fermanagh comes to grip with that extra man. They're playing him as around the half-back line. Maybe it's time to change that tactic and move him up front as Fermanagh try to hold possession. This is more like Fermanagh. Good play. Stephen Maguire and James Sherry. It's Sherry that's at the end of the move. Available this side is Bradley. Sherry steadies himself and sends it well wide. That is 8 wides for Fermanagh, and that's their 5th in the second half.
They're making no attempt to work the ball inside. They could be doing better.
And Fermanagh introduced Darragh McGrath from Earn Gales, and that's in the Beleek area of Fermanagh. He came on against Meath and scored a point, and came on against Donegal as well. And he's coming on at full forward instead of James Sherry. Fermanagh have it once more. Niall Bold losing possession thanks to the good work by Oisín McConville. This is McConville going forward into the space. Fermanagh, not intimidated by reputations. Inside fires McDonald. Back outside again. Available if he needs him, and he does, is Kevin McElvanna. And that's an easy ball for Niall Tinney. 12 minutes left. And referee John Bannon has called for the ball. And I think he's going to give a 45.
Yeah,
yes, the umpire has given a 45, or rather has signalled that it should be a 45.
Yeah, you'll see McElvanna, if we get another look at it there, that there is a bit of contact on his kick. I mean, you'd have to review his shot and say, God, that was a shocking shot. Well, it's a shocking shot because someone got a hand and took the sting out of it. Well spotted.
Stephen McDonald with the 45 against the wind. This one is curling to the left, and this time it's definitely wide. Fourth wide, the first wide of the second half actually for Armagh. This is the incident again as we see it, as McElvanna. Just hard to judge from that, but we are fairly confident that it did take a deflection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened.
Niall Tinney, breaking ball, picked up by Tony McEntee. Laying it out for Stephen McDonald. In towards Ronan Clark. Not getting it the first or second time. A sideline ball to Fermanagh.
His first touch and a second touch and nearly his third touch let him down. This didn't happen. Ooh!
Challenge on Tom Brewster and Tony McEntee. Taking his eye off the ball there with Peter Sherry. Chance here for Oisín McConville. Early on, 5 minutes, and he puts Armagh in front. The last time Armagh scored was 11 minutes into the second half, and it took Oisín McConville from Crossmaglen Rangers to come on and show just exactly how to do it.
On the run, Marty, with the outside of the foot, absolutely super point. Come at the hour, come at the man. Great score by Oisín. Super skill to execute that sort of a play on the run.
Brian Mallon on for Ronan Clark. Referee has blown his whistle. Given a free to Fermanagh. 9 minutes left in actual playing time. Fermanagh with numerical advantage after Enda McNulty was sent off in the first half. Now trailing by a point against the Ulster champions. Tom Brewster available inside. Decides to drop kick it, and again it's signalled wide. And perhaps maybe we should emphasise that this is a very young side, and inexperience seems to be evident there. As we decide, just to show you this, we're at the Republic of Ireland. You're 1515717181. The Bank of Ireland RT Man of the Match competition. If you're in Northern Ireland, it's 0901 0630 117. And if you agree with our analysts who decide the man of the match, then you have won a prize here on the Saturday Game Live. And what a game this has produced. Going into the attack is Raymond Johnson. Had a previous existence as a wing forward. Giving it inside. There's a chance here for Fermanagh. Difficult angle, and the umpires say it's over the bar. Tom Brewster with his second point in this quarter-final, his first from play.
But this is what they should be doing, Marty. I've said it earlier on. They should be working the ball inside. Okay, the inexperience has cost them a bit. They're shooting from too far out. When they run at the defence, that's when they caused a bit of panic. Brewster does very well coming in on his left side. Hooks it over the bar. It's a beauty. It's 11 points each.
It's a level for the fifth time as well, Kevin, after 27 minutes of the second half. Breaking ball, picked up very snappily by Peter Sherry. Into the space. Colin Bradley on the turn, and it's just gone to the right and wide. Colin Bradley is claiming that there was a deflection off Andrew McCann. The umpires are having none of it. Joe Kernan making changes, looking for attention.
Snapped at that one a small bit, Marty. Could have carried it on, maybe developed the play, looked for a handy foul. Snatched at it, I thought, a small bit. Very close, though.
Paul McGrain just gets some attention from the team doctor. As Paul Hearty takes the kick out. 4 wides to 10 at the moment. As Armagh through Oisin McConville sets up another Armagh attack. Beautiful, beautiful interception by Gary Maguire. And Fermanagh have possession and the free.
Marty, I don't think I've ever seen Armagh turn over the ball as often in a championship match in the last 3-4 years.
Fermanagh have to look at various options. This breaking ball. Andy Mallon working hard as Shane McDermott. Picking up the loose ball is Marty McGrath. Support play is all Fermanagh play and know-how. They have to keep supporting each other. Here is Mark Little laying it off to Stephen Maguire, and yet another shot goes wide. 11 wides for Fermanagh. They are kicking this one away.
Oh, they'll kill themselves if it doesn't turn out for them. They're simple chances. He's got to carry it in and swing them over the bar.
Tony McEntee laying it off to Oisin McConville. Oisin going forward. Dermot Marsden available. Here's Marsden. Dropping ball. Niall Tinney does away with the hat and grabs that ball like he does with his club, Irvinstown at midfield. Now, Fermanagh. 6 minutes left. Almost just 5, in fact. Can they pull out the shock of the year? Stephen Maguire. Francie Bellew fouling. Free. And again, Armagh protests with the Longford official.
Well, it is a foul. I mean, he even could have given it for the first one. In fact, I think he was given a bit of advantage. And then when Francie came in to finish it off, had to give the free. Mark Little is going well now again here.
Here's Mark Little. Oh, and the player was actually going down. He went down so low that the Armagh player collided with him. There was no malicious intent here. I think both of them have come out the worst. You see the Armagh player just going down here, and the Armagh player just rolling over him. And Stephen Maguire just seemed to fall awkwardly as he was about to lay off the ball.
Be interesting, Marty, just to see what decision John Bannon is going to give, though. It has to be a hot ball by rule.
Stephen Maguire here, you see he slipped, and that's what caused all the problems.
He still has to hop it, Marty. That's the question. Now, is he going to give the free to Fermanagh, or is he going to stay with the rule and hop it? This will be a big call for John. Oh, there you go. Excellent call.
Did you digest the rule book before you came to Croke Park today? I'm expecting you to say paragraph 5, chapter 4. Here's John Bannon with this hot ball. Throw ball, I think is what it's officially called in the rule book.
Correct.
Marty McGrath trying to go up with big Paul McGrain. Fermanagh boot seems to touch it the last time, and that's going to be a sideline ball for Armagh. Tony McEntee, Paul McGrain laying it off to Kevin McIlvanna. Oisin McConville going back, however, to try and help out his defence there was Peter Sherry, and Fermanagh have it once more. Niall Bogue to Raymond Johnson, back to Bogue, stepped out over the line ball for Armagh. Charlie Mulgrew getting in, trying to organise his defence, not to concede a score at this late stage. 2.5 minutes left in Croke Park in this first quarter-final. Oisin McConville sliced off his boot badly. Should be a defender's ball. Fermanagh had it momentarily. Here's Paul McGrain laying it off to Stephen McDonald. Left or right foot, 2 Fermanagh players. Mark Little is back there, trying to put his body where the ball is. And here comes Fermanagh, not for very long. Cut out this time by Kieran Hughes. It's a great tussle in Croke Park between these two great Ulster counties. They're battling. They realise that victory is within their grasp, both teams. And John Bannon again blows the whistle, and I'm sure it's going to be a throw ball. John Bannon throwing in the ball. Grabbed by Darren Maguire, and it's a free for Fermanagh. Well, it requires now leadership, a bit of character and lots of confidence. Colin Bradley along the sideline. Linesman at the far side has raised his flag. He claims that Bradley had stepped out over the line with the ball, and that's going to be a sideline ball for Armagh. And as you can see, Bradley is incensed. Let's just see here. He's definitely outside. The whole of the ball has to be there as well. And Armagh regain possession. A minute and 20 seconds roughly. Diarmuid Marsden stopped this time by Peter Sherry. Is there a winner in Fermanagh? Here's Mark Little going forward, stepping inside one challenge, taking it on the run, hitting it and sending it wide yet again. 12 wides, a dozen wides for Fermanagh. Less than a minute left in Croke Park in actual playing time. Enda McNulty cannot believe what has happened to him today, but when he sees the pictures, I think he'll agree that the referee was correct. Joe Kernan will be very happy to come out of Croke Park alive, considering that numerically he's down, but it's Fermanagh that have the ball and Marty McGrath. What a wonderful performance by Fermanagh. Credit, they're playing the team that were bidding for their 5th All-Ireland semi-final in 6 years. 4 minutes of additional time in this game.
And Marty, they have to work something in short. They're getting all the pads right from. They have to be cute about this, work something in short and see what they can get off it.
Tom Brewster pumping this in high, dropping in. There's a touch to it, and it's gone out over the umpire says no. The whole of the ball, that's what he was indicating. And Armagh, can they counter-attack now as all of Croke Park cannot take their eye off this wonderful arena and this pitch? Can the Ulster champions qualify for the All-Ireland football semi-final? This is McDonald chasing away. Behind him is Ryan McCluskey. So is Barry Owens. McDonald, like a ballet dancer, takes too many steps, and it's a free for Fermanagh. 70 minutes played. We're into injury time. Sides level, 11 each. Shane McDermott brought to ground, releases it, but the free is to Fermanagh. Can you bear to watch? Can you bear to look away? Fermanagh and Charlie Mulgrew on the verge of history. Fermanagh have never qualified for an All-Ireland football semi-final. If they win this, it'll be the longest journey in the championship in their history. But can Armagh, the kingpins of Ulster, hold on and perhaps sneak a victory here? The ball is down towards Kieran Hughes. Getting there ahead of his direct opponent. Hughes laying it off towards Paul McGrain and Philip Loughran over their far side. Here come Armagh. Laying it off is Tony McEntee to Oisin McConville. Armagh, the more experienced, going forward like it's ray of Armagh footballers. There's a chance here and a chance to score the winner, and the ball is well wide.
Oh, he had lots of options outside, lots of options, and didn't do it.
Ryan McCluskey receiving a quick kick out. Hughie Brady to Raymond Johnson. 72 minutes almost coming up. The ball is into the space. Eamon Maguire chases after it. Can't reach it. Line ball to Armagh.
Oh, 2 minutes to go. Is there a winner in it?
Joe Kernan looking on. Fermanagh try to keep Armagh down this side of the field. Francie Bellew credit Armagh with 14 men after Enda McNulty was sent off, have really done well in this second half. Stephen McDonald perhaps now satisfied that this will go to a replay, and the pass from McDonald is terrible. Now, have they got it in them? Mark Little, away he goes, giving it low down for Stephen Maguire. Back to Mark Little, they have to hold possession. Laying it off to Francie Bellew. Stephen Maguire and Bellew intercepts. They're just afraid to win this, Fermanagh. They just can't seem to create the space and the opportunity to score a winner. Oisin McConville lays it off to Tony McEntee. McConville goes for the return, but Fermanagh regain possession. Raymond Johnson. Referee not blowing his whistle. Armagh have it once more. Tony McEntee into the space. 1 minute left. Niall Bogue. Heartbreaking stuff. heart-stopping stuff. It's wonderful football in Croke Park. History going to be made if these boys in green and white can produce a winner. McDermott to Johnson.
There's the chance.
This is the opportunity. He's hitting it. He's sending it. Oh my God! Oh my God! What a winner from Fermanagh. Tom Brewster. They cannot believe it. Are the Ulster champions one of the hottest of favourites for the All-Ireland? Are they about to exit the championship? 73.5 minutes played, and Fermanagh have it once more. Dreams do become reality, but they've got to hold on. Mark Little will play for time. We're heading towards 73 minutes 48 seconds. Kicks it in long. Chasing after this is Andy Mallett. Giving it back to Francie Bellew. Laying it off. Have Armagh got time to score an equaliser? 1 second left. It's 1 second. Armagh are out to the championship. Fermanagh have produced the shock of the year. Can you believe it? Dreams do become realities. There was nobody in Fermanagh. Long time ago there was a political club called Gubu. It's great, it's unbelievable, it's bizarre and it's unprecedented.
Oh my word, Marty, I've never seen anything like it.
Can you believe the scene here in Croke Park is just unbelievable. They came here, no hopers, everybody, analysts, experts, journalists, they all said goodbye Fermanagh, thanks very much. Instead of that, it's goodbye Armagh. The hottest of favourites, the Ulster champions, have been knocked out of the championship at a quarter-final stage by, yes, believe it or not, little known Fermanagh. They love their football in Fermanagh, and nobody will deny them this, whether you're from Timor, Enniskillen or Newtown Butler. There's the scoreboard. Fermanagh 12 points, Armagh 11.
Well, the next game is due to start in 10 minutes time here at Croke Park, but I can guarantee you now there's no chance of Mayo and Tyrone starting at 3:45. This is a famous day for Fermanagh, there's no doubt about that. It's absolutely fantastic. Armagh, one of the hottest favourites to the championship this year, and after winning Ulster in such impressive style, then there was absolutely no doubt at all about it that they were expected to go all the way. But what a day for Fermanagh, what a day for Tom Brewster. Surely his point will make him a famous man in Fermanagh. The man of the match, surely Tom Brewster. Let's go down to the sideline.
Great. Good. Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to our quiet dressing room here on the far side of Croke Park, much quieter than it is right out there on the field. And Niall Bogue has come in to talk to us here, and we're just giving Niall an extra few seconds here to get his breath back, because he is physically drained, and it's an emotional moment for him too, because he knows the significance of this result. He knows what his team has done. Niall, I know that you're hardly able to talk, but we have a very special duty to perform here in a minute, and you've been very good to come in and talk to us. Niall, we congratulate you personally and the team. You played your heart out, and you just have enough maybe to talk to us and tell us what it means to you.
I'm still in shock, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's hard to take in. It's just as soon as the final whistle went, I was sort of dragged in here. But it's amazing. Can't believe it. I didn't actually realise, you know, what the story was till the whistle went. But, unbelievable. I mean, it'll take a couple of minutes for it to sink in. But you know, we haven't won anything yet, though. You know, so another day.
But you've had a big day here now. You've had good days last year. You've had great days this year. You're picking them off one by one. This undoubtedly was the biggest yet.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, we weren't given a chance coming into it. I think the odds were something crazy for Armagh. But everybody within, we sort of said we built a wall around the squad, and everybody within the squad, you know, fully believed that we were capable of, you know.
Yeah, well, there's a wonderful atmosphere building up there outside in that corridor, Niall. We'll let you back to it in a moment, but it's our great pleasure now to tell you that you are the RTE Sport Man of the Match, and the award will now be made by Mr. Jervis Strain, who is a senior Bank of Ireland manager in Armagh, and I know that Jervis, though wearing Armagh colours maybe in his heart, is very happy to present you now with this award.
Thanks very much. It's brilliant. Cheers.
Well done to you, Niall. Played your heart out, and to your team, and with that we hand you back.
Jim Carney, thank you very much indeed. So Niall Bogue, the choice of man of the match, but I'm sure Niall will have no difficulty at all in sharing that trophy with Tom Brewster. His winning point at the end has created history for Fermanagh.
Fantastic, Michael. Absolutely fantastic. Like, it was historical, it's memorable, it was deserved, and that's the most important thing to say. It was deserved. They were so impressive throughout. Like, I mean, they shot 7 wides in the second half, Michael. That would have put them out of sight. But they never lost belief. They never lost their focus. They kept plugging away. And okay, they had the extra man in the second half. But for a team that last year at the quarterfinals was humiliated, for a team that last year was ridiculed, for a team that nobody rated, for a team that half their players walked out in them.
That's right.
Even.
Yeah.
Here to come back a year later with 24 clubs in their county, with practically a new team, and they go and beat the favourites for the All-Ireland. It was wonderful and fully deserved.
This was the extraordinary thing about it, Joe Brawley, that everything that Martin Carney said there after last year, Dominic Corrigan felt he had done as much as he possibly could for them, and so on, and they came
the atmosphere,
and this will be replayed a lot of times in the county of Fermanagh over the weekend.
I'll tell you, a point that Marty was making earlier about the schools football in Fermanagh is that, you know, every year they're producing high quality football teams, and what you saw out there today, well, what you see out there today is lads who can all play the game.
That's right.
Very good Gaelic football. They're all comfortable in possession, comfortable on the ball, atmosphere in the squad just right, and really an amazing victory. But I'll tell you another thing I was thinking. The landscape of Gaelic football has changed enormously.
That's
I mean,
right.
Westmeath, they're the Leinster champions. Laois
right.
last year. Teams like Fermanagh who've been coming for 2 or 3 years.
You weren't expecting the landscape to change so much because you said they had no chance before the game.
I said it was impossible. And I think, you know, I don't think there's anyone would have disagreed with that. They've been sitting in their living room saying, in fact, I'm going to retire as a pundit now. Can anyone take this microphone away?
We might hold you to that.
But I mean, it was one of those days that you were privileged to be here. It was marvellous. And you could smell it coming and the excitement of it. And in fairness to Armagh, they kept their shoulder to the wheel and they kept trying. But I've never seen an Armagh team being turned over so often.
That's right.
That man has done some job with this team.
Well, I mean, look,
incredible, Michael. I mean, he was in the Donegal panel in 1992 that won the All-Ireland.
Yeah.
He was a sub that never got in and was always disappointed. Many people, the only experience he had of intercounty or of management was managing Letterkenny.
Yeah.
And here he comes in to a team that nobody wanted, took them on. Sean Mohan took them for a year actually before that, before Dominic Corrigan, and kind of felt that he couldn't bring them on any further. The same actually with Dominic Corrigan. Charlie took a crowd of no-hopers, and look where they are now. They never won a provincial title. Themselves and Wicklow are the only two who never have done, but here they are in an All-Ireland semi-final.
That's a big victory.
And the extraordinary thing about it is not just that they creeped past in this one, they should have won it by more. If they kept their heads in front of us, they would have won this by 4 or 5 points.
Well, they should have, and I mean, halfway through the second half, you know, we were saying, well, look, Armagh are still going to win this. You know, Armagh made the rally just after half-time, and I mean, you have to take into account that Armagh were definitely complacent out there. You know, that wasn't the Armagh that we're used to. But nonetheless, when it came right down to it in the last 5 minutes, and Armagh were throwing themselves into it, still the better team were Fermanagh.
That's right.
Even at that stage, Fermanagh were the better side.
There was 39 minutes in the second half played, Michael. Armagh didn't score for the last 14 of that. They didn't score from the 25th
Fermanagh
minute.
wasted a lot of chances.
They did. They kicked wides here. I've got them written down. They kicked huge wides at 20, 26, 22nd, 26, 27 and 29th minute. Wides that they normally should have scored. But that was the tribute to them, Michael. They continued to be resilient. They never lost their belief in that time. And I know a lot of people today, my mother included, who'll be watching this up in Fermanagh, and they'll be delighted, and I hope they're all in the Shannon nursing home are enjoying it.
Oh, there's no doubt they're going to be doing that. For Armagh, I mean, they're sitting in the dressing room now. They were expected, might have thought of themselves this year as All-Ireland champions, and they're gone.
Well, this is the problem, you know, after the Dublin game last year, their performance level dropped. After the Donegal match, I suppose they thought, well, look, we'll beat Fermanagh, whatever happens. I mean, they'll come out and they'll snap at our heels. But at the end of the day, we'll get there. The truth is that today Armagh were thinking of Tyrone in the semi-final. And Tyrone need to be careful not to fall into the same trap of thinking of, I suppose, Fermanagh in the semi-final. Because, I mean, the Tyrone boys will be in the dressing room saying, listen, an All-Ireland final's beckoning here. You know, Armagh are removed. They're bound to feel euphoric about that. They're bound to be excited about it, and they need to get a hold of themselves very quickly.
And Mayo will be thinking the same thing, of course. I mean, both teams now see the big... I think we went to the film Lord of the Rings and we saw the orcs, the big uglies. The big uglies. Like Armagh were like the orcs in Gaelic football. Very skillful, big, strong and muscular. And here they were beaten today by a crowd of little nippy wing forwards. Fantastic play.
Absolutely. We've been talking about Charlie Mulgrew, the manager. Let's hear from him.
Charlie Mulgrew, thanks for coming into the dressing room to talk to us. You were very good to talk to us before the match. Congratulations to you and your team. You've plucked a few golden apples this summer, and this has to be the sweetest.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's, you know, I suppose, you know, it's history for Fermanagh. It's the first time in an All-Ireland semi-final, so it's very special. And in fairness, the Fermanagh people come out today and really give us great support, you know. But I mean, you have to just take your hats off to that bunch of fellas. Like they've came from nowhere and they've just worked so hard and put a bit of faith in each other and been honest with each other and just and tried and tried. Like, and we said at half-time today, you know, whatever happened, we were going to play it to the end, like, and see what took out. And in fairness, like, it was the last 5 or 10 minutes there were crazy stuff. And you know, I suppose again we've been lucky that you know we've scraped through in the end again. So it's great.
Both teams had chances there. The balls were going wide both ends, and then along came a good man, a man you could trust to put the ball over the bar.
Yeah, who was the scorer? Was it Tom Bruce? Tom Bruce got the point, yeah. But you know what I mean, we should have had the game won, in fairness. Like, we were, you know, we lacked that wee bit of composure, that critical stage, and I was just saying to myself at that time, I said, you know, are we going to give this away? Like, you know, because in fairness, Armagh, like, they weren't, you know, there wasn't enough of them boys stepping up to have the crack at it, like, and we needed fellas to step up and have a go anyway, you know, and you know, at least, like, you know, fair play, and we kicked that point, you know.
Charlie, forwards is the glory game, but your backs were fantastic today. Now Niall there, he's a lad that not everybody around the country would know, and we've just given him the Man of the Match award.
Niall,
your cornerback, Niall Vogue.
Yes. So that's a big job to bring him down there for the next day then.
But, you're thinking like a manager now.
Huh? Yeah, after all this time. No, fair play to the backs. They were fantastic. You know, they played very disciplined and very, you know, they curtailed the Armagh forward line, which is not an easy task to do, you know. And the extra man, they played that well as well. So they were fantastic. But to a man, like to a squad, the whole 30, 31, like they're fantastic.
Yeah. You are too. Well done to you and to your team.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Joe Bradley, I think it's a measure of just the tension and excitement on the side there from Andrew. He didn't know.
He can't remember his own cornerback's name.
And even Jim sounded deflated.
I thought it was Jack Sharp there for a minute.
In fairness, there's terrific euphoria everywhere, and I mean, this match is sort of in a way going to be an anti-climax now, because there's such euphoria in the park, and everyone's so delighted for Fermanagh.
Oh, absolutely. Oh.